Hello, friends. I was hoping we wouldn't come to this so quickly, but it's time for the Gibson GA-40, the new amp, to get a fresh look under the microscope here. So as you guys saw, I picked this up at a guitar show, a vintage guitar show, my first one I've ever been to. And I was told it was recently serviced by Skip Simmons, who is a very well-known and fabulous amp tech. And I bought it hoping that it would not require any work, at least not for a bit. And unfortunately, old amps, act like old amps and stuff happens. So we got the microphone channel that I showed in the first video, which will be linked in the description. The microphone channel, which has more gain, just sounds better. In general, in my opinion, had some major issues. I tried swapping around the preamp tubes and changing positions. These are the weird 6SQ7, if I have that correct. I believe that's right. Also known as, 5693? Anyways, I got a lot to learn about these weird tubes. But I did swap them around, and the instrument channel always worked fine, and the microphone channel always had an issue. So, not the tubes. Now, that means there's something in the microphone channel I'll have to figure out. But first and foremost, I guess we could just kind of appreciate it for what it is real quick and get a better look at the tube layout, because it is a bit funky. So we have I misspoke in the first video, and I called this a, what did I call this? A 5AR4 or something, I can't remember, but this is very clearly a 5V4. Very beautiful glass bottle tube there. It's a, can't quite make out what tube it is. Let's see. RCA Jan, so very nice vintage tube. We'll put that off to the side for now. And then this preamp tube, or not preamp tube, this power tube is, well, not a power tube. I don't even know what you call this. So if I remember correctly, this spot is actually for the tremolo circuit. So we've got an old Sylvania 6V6, the smoked glass, very cool looking. And then we've got a complement of RCA smoked glass 6V6s here. These are the power tubes, if I remember the schematic correctly. There's the other one. KW, so I'm sure I can date it based off of that. All right, and then this, which looks like a 6V6, is not. And this is a tongue sole. And I don't see the other, it is 6SN7. You can see that. And my theory on why the bell cover is off of this is that this, I believe they make shorter versions of this. They're not all this height. And this one just barely clears the speaker here. So my guess was maybe, and maybe this is completely wrong, but my initial thought was maybe, to get this in, you can see it's a pretty tight fit. It actually hits the magnet there. So you have to kind of get it keyed in and squeeze it in. So it just barely fits. And with the bell cover here, I'm not sure that would fit. So, but the speaker itself, at least as far as I can see at first glance, appears original, and the mounting seems original. So that's is what it is. And then the preamp tubes, like I mentioned before, 6SJ7. So put all of these off to the side. These are kind of funky, so these are obviously not the same as a 12AX7 as far as how they're built. They've got the larger pin style, like the bigger tube cousins, versus the smaller style of a 12AX7, for example, or an EL84. So put all that off to the side and get a better look at the speaker. So you can see it's a P12Q. And then if we do this and get the camera to focus, you can see the date code there, 220, which is Jensen, and then 320. And that is a 3. I looked at other ones on the line to make sure that was a 3 marker, and it is. And 3 would point this at 1953, so 20th week of 53, which is why I've been calling it a 1953 amp, because that's the only date code I have to go off of so far. So let's not knock those tubes off. And then, we can see what appears to be the original trem. wire there, and a little bracket here to hold on the power transformer. Unclear if that's original or not. Possibly. I mean, there's a bolt there. So yeah, I'm not sure. I'll have to find photos of original ones to get a better sense of what's what. And the other thing I want to point out real quick before we open it up is the wood used here. The keen-eyed among you might have noticed already, but this is actually, I believe, redwood. So not your typical, birch ply or whatever that, say a fender might be made of or anything like that. There's different woods, but yeah, redwood, I believe, is basically exclusively a vintage Gibson thing, which is very cool. And some people claim that is a part of the sound. And I guess probably makes it a different weight as well. It feels pretty light to me. So yeah, that's the new amp. So let's take off the back cover and see what the heck we're working with. All right, those screws did not feel like they were in the wood very well, so we'll probably have to do the old toothpick trick or something to get those to grip on, but let's go ahead and reveal. Now, I just briefly got a chance to look at this at the guitar show. I asked him to take the back cover off just to make sure it wasn't totally mangled, and didn't get a good look then, so let's see what we got. Okay. There's a lot to take in here. A lot to take in. All right. So, yeah, there's a lot here. So as mentioned, recently serviced, at least according to, well, it was actually confirmed because somebody saw this at another guitar show the guy went to prior to the one that I bought this at, and Skip Simmons was actually there with him at the booth. So, and he talked to Skip on the phone when I was talking with him about the amplifier. So yeah, but I don't know how long ago it was. I just heard recently. First things first, let's just go ahead and make sure there's no stray voltage in it. So no voltage in the amplifier, so we are safe. And unfortunately, it's really hard from my angle to get a good view of it. We'll have to take the chassis out probably. I didn't really want to mess with all the transformer stuff just yet. But I just want to do a first glance and really see what we're working with here. So we see it does have the three-prong swap in here. See how it was wired. We've got the hot going to the switch, and then the primary, other end of the transfer primary also going to the other end of the switch. The other transformer primary going to the fuse sleeve. The fuse tip is the neutral, and then the ground is connected here to its own ground connection there, which does not look original. That's not typically how people wire these. Typically, what you see to code would be the hot going to the fuse tip, and then from there going to the switch. The other end of the switch is the primary, just like it is now, and then the neutral is connected to the other primary heat shrink together. Looped around leads for the power transformer. I cannot actually see the tube sockets from my angle, so can't really speak on those yet. Here's the trem circuit. So the trem has 3 positions, not unlike my Vox AC30. And it's got a network of resistors to change the resistance and thus adjust the trem speed. I would love to adjust the trem depth, so we'll have to pull up the schematic and see how we do that. We do have one big modern cap here. This is an F&T 22 microfarad 500 volt. And it looks like that's connected to a node of this can cap here. So again, we'll have to pull up the schematic and see. Now, when I first looked up schematics for this, it was a bit confusing because there are multiple revisions or changes to the GA-40. This is the very first version they ever made. And then after this version, the next 2 or 3 versions, if I remember correctly, are wildly different than this version. So, and interesting. Okay, well, immediately there's an issue. Looks like we've got a lead here that, I don't know what that's going to, but that's perhaps our problem. Now, it appears it's going to the cap ground here, just an additional ground to the bus here. So I don't think that's our problem, but definitely something we would want to fix. I don't know how that would break like that. It's kind of crazy. One interesting thing that I just realized is the knobs on this, the kind of brown with black speckle bakelite, knobs, these are actually what are on my 64 AC30 that we deemed swapped. Typically, as far as I could tell, they had all black knobs. But I thought those knobs were really cool because they came on old Gibsons and they were this kind of brown with black speckle. And here we go. This is proof. This is a early 50s Gibson with those knobs. So that's kind of interesting. I can't make out the date codes on the potentiometers. I'm going to have to undo the pot to get a better sense there. I'm sure the transformer will have some date code on it as well that we could look at to help us date it, but that'll be for maybe later. Looking around here, just trying to kind of detect what's original, what's not. I got this bus wire kind of poking up and touching stuff. I guess it's all grounded, but and out of the way, lots of original resistors and original caps here. Interesting. Okay, so actually this is kind of cool. And I can see Skip Simmons' fingerprints on it here. The caps here, these ones are all actually stuffed. Wow, he went the extra mile. It's like hot glued or siliconed, so it looks like it's sealed. You can kind of see that there. But there does appear to be a new cap in there, and these ones have actually piggyback. It says a piggyback resistor. Right. I don't know if you can see that. You see that down in there? Yeah, you can. There's a piggyback resistor hidden with the cap in there stuffed. So that's kind of cool. And this one's the same with the resistor on the underside here. So it looks like we've got the original can cap way over here, but not being used. So it looks like it was just left there. And then there's the other can cap here, which does look replaced. I'm guessing this would be the bias resistor. Let's see what value this is. 150 ohm. From my perspective, I can't really see anything. I have to bend over and the camera's in my way. So let's take the chassis out of the cabinet and see what we're working with a bit deeper. And here she is out of the cabinet. So not too difficult. Did notice that one of the chassis screws that holds it to the cabinet does need to be replaced. It's a different length and flathead versus Phillips. Didn't notice that before. And then all I had to do was just desolder the speaker wire off of the output transformer. So before we go any deeper into this, let's just flip this around and see if we can date it based off of the transformer codes. Got a lot of wires to contend with here for the foot switch and the 3-prong, so ignore that. Let's see what we got. So we got our big old output transformer. Let's see if we can see any date codes on it. Just says GA-40P. We see a modern CE manufacturing can cap here. So we've got a 10, 10, 10, and 20. And see if all 4 are being used right now. All 4 are being used right now. And then we've got this transformer right here. This is quite loose. Very loose. Okay. So this says GA-30C. And I know absolutely nothing about what any of this means, just, right off the bat here. So I'm going to have to do some research, but the code is 285, which I'm assuming typically the first 3 letters, first 3 numbers are basically telling you what the manufacturer is, which I don't know what 285 is. And then the next one is year, and the next 2 are the week. So this would point to 1953, which if it's original would match all the rest. The speaker, I should say, the speaker date code. This one says E1896. Kind of looks like a choke. I'm not sure what that is. And this is the output transformer here. Here's the original can cap. But let's see if we can get it. See if there's a date on the output transformer. Certainly looks old, but I don't see. Oh yeah, there's writing on it. Gosh, it's quite old. I don't know if I can make it out. Yeah, I can't make it out. I don't know if you guys will be able to even see it. It's in black writing on a wax covered surface. Yeah, you can't even see it. Well, maybe I can get it cleaned up a bit later, but it looks original. And everything seems to be pointing to 53. We'll check the pots, but that seems to be the consensus. That's a little worrying. I don't want to see that so loose. Let's go ahead and see if we can tighten that right now. Okay, that's way, way tighter. It's not moving at all now. Let's see if we can read what the original can cap was. I think it's a 10 and a 10, but to be honest, I could barely say. I can make out 110 for sure, but it's hard to see the other one. So no big surprises on this side. Lots of old iron. Kind of what I was hoping to see here. That's the one kind of sketchy thing about buying at a guitar show like that, is you really have no idea as far as the transformers are concerned. You know, to get this whole thing out is quite a hassle to get out of the cabinet. So you got to roll the dice a little bit. So as I was mentioning before, we've got these old caps which have been stuffed. I can't actually see what's inside of them because this one's been glued on both sides with like hot glue or silicone or something. I can't tell about these either. Yeah, so they've all been glued on both sides. So they look like an original cap. But we'll just assume, based off of who did it, that they are the correct values. So these are, looks like these are probably the coupling cap, or not coupling, the cathode bypass caps. 20 microfarad, 25 volt. That's what I would guess both of those are for the 2 channels. So one of these is for the microphone input, and one of these is for the instrument input, or the 3 instrument inputs, I should say. So this first one is the microphone. So that's going to this. So V1 would be for the microphone tube, it looks like, or sorry, the microphone. Oof. That's not good. Okay. I just spotted something here. So this is the microphone input, which means this tube right here would be the V1 for that. I believe V2 is for the for the instruments inputs, and then V3 is for both channels. But just noticed something that again might be part of our issue here. Let's see if I can show you guys. This one, let's see if you can tell. That one's not soldered. So I can see it's hooked. Let me grab my little grabbers real quick. So I can see it was hooked, but it looks like it was not ever soldered. There you go. So you can see that right there. I kind of want to just solder it up and see if that would fix it. Because I really didn't want this to become a massive project, this amp, at least not yet. Because I've got so many other amps on the workbench right now, and I kind of want to just be able to enjoy this. So let's just go ahead and solder it up and see. We might end there too tonight just because it's so late. I'm noticing there's a lot of little metal pieces inside here too. So I can start grabbing some out. Little pieces that got discarded in there. I'm not sure if you guys can see in the back corner, or the back kind of crease of the chassis, a lot of little metal pieces got stuck back there. Should be solid now. I have no, way of knowing who did that. So I don't want to, say it was Skip Simmons or blame him for that. Of course, we are all fallible and we all make mistakes. So, but I have no idea, because I was also told by the person I purchased it from that Bill Kernard worked on it before. I don't know who did what. I wasn't told any of that. This very clearly looks like a Skip Simmons thing, because he's kind of known for doing that with these types of amplifiers. So I have no idea who did that, but either way, just goes to show it's always good to check and make sure everything is looking straight. And doing the classic little chopstick test. Let's just see if we can get this ground connection in real quick, and then I think we'll call it a night there. Fire it up tomorrow if I have time, and hopefully determine that was all it was. Okay, that looks like a very solid connection to me. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and end there tonight and pick this up in the morning. All right. Okay, so we are back here. It is a new day, and I've got the cabinet just off camera here to my side. Can you see it? Just over here. so that we can hopefully plug in or reconnect the speaker wires to the output transformer and test it after we made this connection here and got that connection back up and running. And before doing so, I was just kind of going through and looking at things. And there's a lot here that I think definitely needs to be touched up. But I want to take it, I want to get this amp running because, yeah, I want to enjoy it a little bit before it's down for a long time. So I don't want to do a full rebuild yet. But I was going through and I saw, see if I can show you guys, there's just a lot of really tight areas with wires kind of all on top of each other. It's a lot in this thing. But I noticed on here that this solder joint is pretty, just didn't look at super reliable. So I hit it with some more solder. And then this one right next to it right here, let's see if I can zoom in more. So then this one right here, same thing, looked like the solder could use a little love. So I just touched a soldering iron and this popped right off. So I don't know if you can see that or not. I'm probably blocking all the light for you guys, but you can kind of see it. So it wasn't actually in the terminal strip eyelet there. It was just kind of on the side. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can fit it in the terminal strip eyelet or even just replace this resistor in general. It's kind of an eyesore, to be honest, with the green. What is this? So yellow, purple, that's 4, 7. Orange would be K. So that's, what, 47K? Do I have that right? Let's test what that measures real quick. So it's measuring 61K, so it's pretty far out from what it should be. I'm almost positive. So yellow, 4, purple, or violet, I guess, is 7. Orange would be, I'm still learning. I'm trying to get this down on my head. The color coding here, but it should be 47 times 1,000, so it should be 47K. So let me see if I got a 47K that would fit there anyways. And I do not. That is a pretty beefy resistor as well. And I'm not sure, let's see if I can figure out where this is in the circuit. So this is on the weird tube socket for the, this is the 6SN7. So I do not know the pin out for that. And I can't really read what the pin numbers are on the socket. So we're just gonna resolder this for now. And this definitely is gonna need a fresh go through with the schematic in hand. But for now, let's just reconnect this resistor onto the terminal strip and fire it up and see where we're at, and see if that this auto connection that was missing, if the amplifier works fine once that's done, and then we can kind of go from there. So let me get this set up here. And you can see here, actually the light is picking up perfect on the camera right now. This whole area right here has got some grime. I'm guessing from like a cap exploding or something here. Definitely something happened in that area. There is a lead there that is not actually connected to anything. It's just an old lead, so we can remove that. Got this poor wire that's just stuck in this little triangle hold right here. Let's just disconnect it here and reroute it. So now it's not in the way of anything. Just helping ourselves out for the future when we do dive into this more. All right, we will be going back and probably redoing a lot of this stuff, but I just want to test it. The more we look, the more we're going to see stuff that needs to be touched up, I think, particularly in this area. I could get it to focus a bit. We've got these little carbon film, looks like 470Ks on the power tubes. We've got this whole trem tube set up here. There's just a lot of jumbled mess wires. I don't know if you guys are gonna be able to see that or not. Zoom in a touch more. So you can see kind of all the mess back there, and it goes even deeper too. There's another hidden orange cap down here. And if I move over, see that there's just a lot here that could probably get a little love. So you got this weird ground connection that goes to this spot here, just like a bus wire running there. And then there's this tab. You can see that. here, it's just kind of like looped around. I can't really tell what's going on underneath there. And all the transformer wires are quite thick and in the way. So I'm not sure what this is. Oh, I guess I can move that one. Yeah, it looks like it's literally just wrapped around. It's not actually in a hole of an eyelet or anything there. It looks like it's just kind of wrapped around, presumably an eyelet that is there for something else. So, I mean, it's soldered on there. It's a solid connection. It just looks kind of funky and definitely not ideal. So we would probably be redoing all of that. But I'm just making mental notes for myself. All the tube sockets go over that. Make sure all of these kind of caps and everything you see here are okay and healthy. They've all been replaced, it looks like. And got the F and T there. So anyways, all right. Enough of that stuff. Let's zoom out here. Whoops. So those aren't even in that tag there, or that tag, eyelet, whatever. I don't really know the proper term for these. But let's redo that. Let's measure this resistor real quick. It's looking at 510K, so it should be 470K. That's probably enough out to swap it. Let me see if I got a replacement. I do, so let's go ahead and just replace this guy, because it's 520. It is a 20% tolerance, so it doesn't matter that much, but I think we're probably better off replacing it. And this lead's falling apart here. I can just bend this little bit and break it, yeah. So first thing we'll do is just desolder. Okay, success. All right, so we got that pinned down there. That looks good. Let's go ahead and get the solder. So let's actually clean this one out as well, just to get all this nice and fresh while we're here. Now, my actual long-term goal would be to add a junction box inside the cabinet like I did to my magnetone, so that I can use a different cabinet with this amplifier. And when I measured the speaker, it measured, I believe it was 7 ohms, so it seems like it's an 8 ohm speaker, which means there's a lot of possibilities of things I could do. In which case, this all wiring will be redone, but I want to make sure it's done well. Wow, okay, that took a lot more effort than I was anticipating. All right. Kind of did exactly what I was trying to avoid doing, but here we are. Microphone's all over the place, so apologies if the audio is weird. Let's frickin' turn this sucker on and see if we got it output. I don't remember if I said this or not, but that issue I showed in the first, basically me buying the amp, that video, I did try swapping preamp tubes around these 6S-J7s, and it did not make a difference. The mic channel is still the one having that weird, very bad sounding issue that I demonstrated. So, okay, we're connected there. Let's go ahead, and we haven't touched anything that would cause an issue, so I think we can just go straight into the wall here. So I've got the mic gain way down on the camera. We're turned on. We're in the instrument channel. This one worked fine before. I just want to do a sanity check real quick. Just a Jazz Master here, and make sure we're getting something in this, and we'll move over to the channel that had the issues, which was this first input, the mic channel. Okay, now we're moving over to the mic channel here. This is the one that gave us the issues, so hopefully we're clean and clear. Heck yeah, seems to work perfectly fine. So we found the issue. Let me change the mic gain real quick. Okay, I was yelling at the camera because I had the mic gain so low for picking up the audio. So I don't know if you heard anything I said, but if not, the instrument channel seems to work totally fine and exactly as it did before. And the problem child, which was the mic channel with the more gain, seems to be fixed. So we tried it through the entire gain range, had no issues. So it appears it was absolutely this cap over here that was not soldered to the jack there. Doing that seemed to have fixed the issue entirely. So it sounds healthy to me. I don't have a reference point, but it sounds pretty aggressive, you know, very mid-range heavy, just like, you know, these are kind of known to sound like, and it sounds awesome. I don't know how it's going to sound to you guys using the camera mic, since my shotgun mic won't be able to be patted down enough. It would just blow out, but hopefully it sounded okay. And yeah, I think we're in a good spot. The amp sounds pretty good. There's some scratchiness there at the top of the range, maybe a little bit up there as well. So we'll probably clean the pots out. And but I think we're good to end here, and definitely not the end of this amp. So stay tuned. There's definitely gonna be more to it. I want to go through it with a fine-tooth comb, but I'm just happy it works, so I can enjoy it a little bit longer before having it off on the side on the workbench, you know, for a month or whatever, as I'm trying to work through a bunch of other amps. So anyways, thank you so much for watching, guys, and subscribe if you like this stuff. And until next time, see ya.